Fort Campbell Mess Hall, early morning, the kind of quiet that comes before the storm of breakfast service begins. Staff Sergeant Sarah Mitchell stood at the serving line, her dog tags catching the fluorescent light as she reached for a tray. She'd worn them every day for the past 6 years, never took them off, not in the shower, not during PT, not during sleep. Sergeant First Class Marcus Webb noticed them immediately. He always noticed details like that. It's what made him a good NCO. Or so he thought. "Those your boyfriend's tags, sweetheart?" His voice carried across the mess hall, loud enough for the early crew to hear. Sarah didn't respond, just kept moving down the line. "I'm talking to you." Webb stepped closer. "Wearing someone else's tags is stolen valor. You know that, right?" She met his eyes, calm, steady, said nothing. What Webb didn't know, what nobody in that mess hall knew, was that those dog tags had a story. A story that began in 1968, in a place most of these young soldiers had only read about in history books. Webb wasn't trying to be cruel. He'd seen it before, young soldiers wearing tags they bought online, trying to look cool, trying to honor someone they never knew. He thought he was doing the right thing. "Take 'em off." His voice was firm now, command voice. "Stolen valor isn't cute." The mess hall went quiet. Other soldiers stopped eating, stopped talking. Everyone watching. Sarah reached up slowly, unclasped the chain. The metal was warm from her skin. She'd worn it so long it felt like part of her. She held the tags out to Webb. He took them, turned them over in his palm, and that's when his expression changed. The name engraved wasn't some random soldier. It wasn't a boyfriend. It wasn't a purchase from a military surplus store. CPT James A. Mitchell, 1st Cavalry Division, KIA 14 Feb 1968, Da Nang, Vietnam. KIA, killed in action. Webb's hands started shaking, just slightly, enough that Sarah noticed. "Vietnam?" His voice was different now, softer. Sarah nodded once, small movement. "Your father?" Another nod. The mess hall was completely silent now. You could hear the kitchen fans humming. Someone's fork clinked against a plate. Webb looked at the tags again. 1968. That was 57 years ago. This woman in front of him wasn't even born when these tags were issued. Colonel Raymond Foster had been walking past the mess hall on his way to his office, early riser. Always had been, ever since his own days as a lieutenant. He'd planned to grab a coffee and keep moving. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the unusual silence. Maybe it was instinct. He stepped inside, saw Webb holding dog tags, saw the young female soldier standing at attention. "What's going on here, Sergeant?" Webb handed him the tags without a word. Foster looked at them. His face went pale. "Where did you get these?" His voice was barely above a whisper. "They're mine, sir." Sarah's voice was steady, professional. "They belonged to my father." Foster's eyes locked onto hers, really looked at her for the first time. The shape of her face, her eyes, the way she stood. "Mitchell," he breathed. "James Mitchell?" "Yes, sir." The colonel's hand tightened around the tags. His jaw clenched. For a moment he couldn't speak. Vietnam, Da Nang, February 14th, 1968. The night was chaos. Tet Offensive in full swing. Mortar fire lighting up the sky like deadly fireworks. Lieutenant Raymond Foster, 24 years old, pinned down in a bunker. 3 men with him, 2 wounded, radio dead, no way to call for extraction. Then Captain Mitchell appeared, moving through enemy fire like it was rain. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was headquarters staff, but he heard the radio go silent and he knew what that meant. "Can you move?" Mitchell shouted over the explosions. Foster nodded, blood running down his face from shrapnel. "The others can't. Then we carry them." It took 47 minutes to move 3 wounded men 300 meters. Mitchell took 3 rounds, kept moving, kept dragging, kept fighting. They made it to the extraction point. Helicopter waiting. "Get them on," Mitchell ordered. Foster climbed in, turned to pull Mitchell up. That's when the RPG hit. The last thing Foster saw was Mitchell's hand reaching for him. Back in the mess hall, Colonel Foster was 81 years old now, but in that moment he was 24 again, watching his captain die. "Your father saved my life," his voice cracked. "February 14th, 1968. I was a lieutenant. We were pinned down. He wasn't supposed to be there. He came anyway. He pulled us out, all three of us, took enemy fire doing it. He looked at the dog tags in his hand. I tried to pull him into the helicopter, but the RPG—" He couldn't finish the sentence. Sarah's voice was quiet. "I never knew him, sir. He died 2 months before I was born. My mother said he volunteered for that rescue mission. They told him not to go." "That sounds like James," he smiled sadly. "He never followed orders when his men needed him." The colonel looked around the mess hall, every soldier watching, every ear listening. "Your father was awarded the Silver Star posthumously, but what the medal didn't say was that he saved 4 lives that night, mine included." He looked at Webb. "And this sergeant just accused his daughter of stolen valor?" Webb's face went red. "Sir, I couldn't have known." Foster held up a hand. "You made an assumption, Sergeant. We all make assumptions. But these tags are," he held them out to Sarah. "They're exactly where they belong." He looked at the entire mess hall now, raised his voice so everyone could hear. "Let me tell you something about honor. It's not just about the medals on your chest. It's not about how many deployments you've done. It's not about gender or age or where you came from." He gestured to Sarah. "This soldier wears her father's tags because he gave his life so others could go home tomorrow. That's a legacy. That's what service means." He turned to Webb. "And you, Sergeant, you made a mistake, but you also cared enough about stolen valor to call it out. That takes courage, too. Just next time, ask first before you assume." Webb nodded. "Yes, sir. Ma'am, I apologize." Sarah finally spoke again. "You were doing your job, Sergeant. No apology necessary." Foster smiled. "That's her father talking. He was gracious like that, too." The colonel pulled something from his pocket, a small pin, Vietnam service pin. He'd carried it for decades. "Your father would be proud of you, Specialist Mitchell." He pinned it to her collar. "And he'd be proud to know his tags are still serving." 3 months later, Sarah Mitchell was promoted to sergeant. Colonel Foster attended the ceremony, brought 3 other soldiers with him, all in their 80s now, all pulled from that bunker in 1968. They stood at attention as Sarah received her stripes, and when the ceremony ended, all 4 of them saluted her. Not because of her rank, because of her name. Because 57 years ago, a captain they loved didn't come home. But his legacy did. His daughter carried it, every day, around her neck, close to her heart. And now, an entire base knew the story. The story of Captain James Mitchell, the story of sacrifice, the story of why we serve. Some legacies are written in medals. Some are engraved on dog tags. Both are carried by those who come after. In memory of all those who gave their lives so others could serve tomorrow.